Archaeologists have made a discovery that could change everything we know about one of the most sacred sites in the world. Beneath Jesus' tomb in Jerusalem, archaeologists stumbled upon layers of history that have been hidden for millennia. Experts are stunned, and the implications could be monumental. What lies beneath the holy site is unlike anything anyone expected, leaving even seasoned researchers completely speechless. The restoration that accidentally shook the world. In 2022, a major restoration began at the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, one of the most sacred sites in Christianity. The project was a collaboration between three custodial communities, each with centuries of tradition and devotion: the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate, the Roman Catholic Custody of the Holy Land, and the Armenian Patriarchate. Their goal was to repair and preserve the basilica, but what started as careful restoration soon turned into something no one could have imagined. The work required lifting the massive, centuries-old floor tiles that had covered the basilica for generations. Once removed, the archaeologists gained rare access to the layers beneath. For decades, no one had seen these subsurface strata. Every layer told a story, and each seemed to whisper secrets from a time long before Christianity had reached Jerusalem. Under the modern floor, the team discovered layers that stretched back to the Iron Age. Broken pottery, worn stones, and faint outlines of ancient walls hinted at thousands of years of continuous use. The site had been alive long before the basilica was built. Pilgrims walked above these hidden layers for centuries, unaware of the history lying beneath their feet. Leading the excavation was Professor Francesca Romana Stasola from Sapienza University of Rome. She approached the project with care and precision. Every stone moved, every wall uncovered, had to be documented and preserved. The excavation was not just about archaeology, it was about respecting faith. Work was carefully sectioned and often paused to allow pilgrims uninterrupted access, particularly during Easter when thousands visit the site to pray and reflect. Despite the careful planning, there was a growing sense of excitement among the team. Each tile lifted revealed traces of life that had been buried for centuries. The air seemed charged with history. Every tool strike against the floor echoed through the chambers, a rhythm that connected the present with millennia of the past. Then something unexpected happened. As the first walls were slowly dismantled, the team realized that the restoration was no longer just about repairing a building. It had become a journey through time itself. The layers they uncovered were untouched by modern hands, and hints of something extraordinary began to emerge. The team paused, holding their breath. Each new discovery suggested that this sacred site still had secrets that the world had never seen. As the team looked at the open spaces beneath the floor, a sense of awe and fear filled the air. They were standing on the threshold of a discovery that could shake the foundations of history itself. And no one yet knew exactly what lay ahead. The hidden garden, frozen in time. Beneath the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre, team found a remarkable garden was found. Soil samples taken from under the ancient floor were carefully analyzed using archaeobotanical techniques. Scientists examined pollen, seeds, and microscopic plant remains. What they found was extraordinary. Olive pits, grape seeds, and fragments of other plants indicated that this area had once been covered with olive trees and grapevines. The discovery suggested a landscape unlike anything seen before beneath the sacred stones. Although radiocarbon dating has not yet been completed, the soil layer containing these botanical remains corresponds to a time long before Christianity existed. The team realized that they were looking at a pre-Christian era, an ordinary piece of cultivated land that would later become the setting for one of history's most sacred sites. The archaeologists documented the presence of low stone walls, carefully backfilled with soil between them. These walls formed what appeared to be ancient cultivation beds, evidence that this land was intentionally farmed. Every line of stone, every layer of soil, told the story of human hands tending the earth. This was no wild garden. It had been shaped, cared for, and cultivated, connecting ordinary life with the extraordinary events that would later unfold here. Professor Francesca Romana Stasola pointed out a striking connection to Scripture. The garden-like layout matches descriptions in John chapter 19, verses 41-42, which mentions a garden near the site of the crucifixion. The archaeologists realized that the land beneath their feet was not just historical soil, it was a garden frozen in time, linking scripture and archaeology in a tangible way. During Jesus' time, this area lay outside the fortified walls of Jerusalem. Only later, under Roman rule when the city became Aelia Capitolina, was it incorporated into the urban landscape. The team marveled at how this ordinary piece of farmland, once on the outskirts of the city, would become central to the faith of millions. The soil, the plants, and the stone walls spoke of simple daily life, yet also hinted at events that would shape the world forever. It was astonishing to consider that beneath centuries of devotion and stone, the garden had survived, preserved almost as it had been. Each fragment of olive pit, each trace of grapevine, carried the imprint of hands that had tended this land thousands of years ago. It was a silent witness to the lives, hopes, and labor of people long gone. But the most thrilling revelation was still to come. Beneath its fertile soil lay a mystery that could change how history and faith were understood. They had uncovered a glimpse of the past, but the past was far from finished, revealing its story. Rock-cut tombs that matched the Gospels. The restoration work accelerated the pace of discovery. On the night of October 26th, when the marble cladding covering the floor was first removed, the conservation team from the National Technical University of Athens found only a layer of fill material, but they continued their careful work, digging and documenting for 60 hours straight. Then, something astonishing appeared. Another marble slab emerged, this one carved with a cross, hinting at the sacred purpose of the tomb beneath. By the night of October 28th, just hours before the tomb was scheduled to be resealed, the team revealed the original limestone burial bed intact. The sense of awe in the room was palpable. Frederick Hebert, National Geographic's archaeologist in residence, described the moment as overwhelming. "I'm absolutely amazed. My knees are shaking a little because I wasn't expecting this," he admitted. It seemed that after centuries, the tomb had not shifted. Its position and structure matched historical and gospel accounts about Joseph of Arimathea offering his own tomb for Jesus' burial. Every detail fit with the narratives that have been studied, debated, and revered for millennia. The burial bed, the carved niches, and the positioning outside the city walls aligned perfectly with Scripture. These rock-cut tombs fit the style of elite burials from the 1st century CE. Single and multiple burial niches were hewn into the stone with care, reflecting practices common in Jerusalem at that time. Archaeological evidence suggests that the site had a long and varied history. Originally a stone quarry, it was later abandoned and then repurposed, first for cultivation and later for burials. The layers of soil and rock told the story of generations, from ordinary farmers tending olives and grapes to families burying their loved ones according to Jewish custom. The tomb's location outside the city walls was particularly significant. Jewish law forbade burials inside the city, and the gospel narrative specifically placed Jesus' tomb beyond Jerusalem. Yet even with this incredible discovery, the mystery deepened. The rock alone was not the end of the story. Embedded within its structure was something entirely unexpected, a circular relic hinted at in historical texts but never seen by modern eyes lay hidden within the stone. The team could only imagine what this relic represented and why it had been preserved for so long, awaiting the moment when it would finally come to light. Then a set of artifacts emerged, each one a piece in a puzzle that could redefine how we view the earliest Christian memory. How Emperor Hadrian accidentally preserved Jesus' burial site. Between 130 and 136 AD, Emperor Hadrian undertook a massive transformation of Jerusalem, turning it into Aelia Capitolina. His vision reshaped the city entirely. Streets, temples, and public buildings rose where ordinary neighborhoods had once stood. Yet beneath the grandeur of Roman construction, something extraordinary lay quietly untouched. During this rebuilding, Hadrian's builders laid down layers of construction fill and debris directly over the ancient garden and tombs. The intention was clear: to suppress Christian memory and erase the sacred geography of Jesus' time. But in an ironic twist of fate, these very Roman layers acted as a protective blanket. The garden, the rock-cut tombs, and the cultivated soil beneath were sealed from erosion, looting, and destruction. What Hadrian had hoped to bury for centuries, he had, unknowingly, preserved. The excavation team, led by Professor Francesca Romana Stasola, meticulously documented the site. The evidence revealed a remarkable transition. The land had started as a stone quarry, later became a cultivated garden, and then served as a burial place. Over time, it transformed again into a sacred Christian site, venerated by pilgrims from near and far. Each layer told the story of human hands shaping the land, of traditions maintained, and of faith persevering against the odds. The tomb's location outside the city walls was especially significant. Jewish custom forbade burials within the city, and the gospel narratives placed Jesus' tomb beyond Jerusalem. The Roman reconstruction layered suppression directly over this sacred geography, reflecting a collision of civilizations and beliefs. Yet, rather than destroying the past, Hadrian's construction inadvertently preserved it. For centuries beneath streets, stones, and mortar, the ancient garden and tomb lay frozen in time, waiting for modern archaeologists to uncover them. The site's stratigraphy revealed an extraordinary story. Roman suppression had built upon Christian veneration, which itself had been layered over older Jewish funerary practices. Archaeologists could see the continuity of human activity, the shifting purposes of the land, and the enduring presence of sacred spaces. Each layer was a chapter in a story spanning over a millennium, from ordinary cultivation to monumental devotion. And now, encased beneath centuries of stone and mortar, the excavation team was on the verge of a breakthrough. The careful study of soil, tombs, and relics promised revelations that would connect Scripture to physical reality in ways never before imagined. The protective Roman layers had done more than preserve history. They had created a time capsule, waiting to validate centuries of belief. As the team prepared to lift the final stones and explore the deepest strata, 6 distinct lines of evidence began to emerge. Each piece would speak to the truth of what the gospel had long declared. Every discovery resonated through time, echoing centuries of faith, devotion, and history. The past was ready to reveal itself, and the world was about to witness a connection between text and terrain that had survived empires, wars, and the passage of its time. The 6 irrefutable confirmations of the biblical account. After years of careful study beneath the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre, the findings beneath the ancient stones began to echo the words of the Gospels in extraordinary ways. Scholars and archaeologists recognized 6 key confirmations that seemed to bring the biblical narrative to life. The first confirmation comes from the garden. The Gospel of John notes, "Now in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb, in which no one had yet been laid." The layers beneath the basilica reveal a cultivated space, affirming that this was not a symbolic description, but a real place where Jesus' burial took place. Second are the rock-cut tombs themselves. Matthew chapter 27 verses 57-60 writes, "Joseph of Arimathea laid Jesus' body in his own new tomb." Mark chapter 15 verses 43-46 adds, "Joseph bought a linen shroud and took him down and laid him in a tomb which had been hewn out of the rock." Luke chapter 23 verses 50-53 confirms, "He took it down and laid it in a tomb cut in stone." And John chapter 19 verses 38-42 emphasizes, "There laid they Jesus because of the Jews' preparation day." The tombs discovered align with these accounts, showing burial practices consistent with elite Jewish customs described in the text. The third confirmation is the location outside the city walls. John chapter 19 verse 41 explicitly notes that the tomb was beyond Jerusalem's gates. Now in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden. Jewish custom forbade burials within the city, and the positioning of the tomb mirrors this instruction, linking scripture and site. Fourth, the circular marble foundation beneath the aedicule supports the Gospel's long-standing account of veneration. Historical sources describe early Christian monuments built to honor the sacred tomb, echoing the continuity of devotion reflected in texts and tradition. The fifth confirmation lies in the layers of history above the tomb. Emperor Hadrian's construction of Aelia Capitolina unintentionally preserved the sacred space. In trying to erase Christian memory, Roman builders created a protective seal over the garden and tomb. Finally, material continuity provides the sixth confirmation. Artifacts spanning from the Iron Age through Roman and early Christian periods show that generations recognized this area as significant. This is reflected in Scripture through the repeated attention to the site's holiness and its enduring role in the story of Jesus' burial and resurrection. Together, these confirmations weave the text of the Gospels into the very earth of Jerusalem. As John writes, "He is not here, for he has risen, as he said." The physical layers beneath the basilica speak of a history that resonates with this sacred story. Even as the team cataloged these 6 lines of evidence, excavation team leader finally spoke, revealing surprising details of the whole excavation journey, why this discovery changes everything. In a rare interview following the submission, Professor Stasola described the journey as both exhilarating and humbling. "This project was unlike anything I have ever experienced," she said. "We were uncovering layers of history that stretch back thousands of years. Every stone, every soil sample, every trace of ancient life spoke to us, and at times it felt as though the past was standing right there beside us." The team faced extraordinary challenges. Working beneath a site still alive with worshippers required precision and patience. "We had to pause frequently," Stasola explained. "Pilgrims came to pray, especially during Easter, and we had to respect that while continuing our work. It was a constant balancing act between scientific inquiry and sacred devotion. Technically, the excavation demanded innovative approaches. Removing centuries-old floor tiles revealed fragile layers of soil and stone, each carrying critical evidence. The archaeologists carefully documented every artifact, from tiny olive pits to carved rock-cut tombs, using advanced imaging and 3D modeling. Stasola noted that the preservation of the site under Roman layers from Hadrian's reconstruction had been both a blessing and a complication. "The Roman construction saved these layers for us, but it also meant we were working under heavy compacted debris," she said. "It was like peeling back history layer by layer, with every step requiring delicate hands and careful judgment." Observing the ancient garden, the tombs, and the circular Constantinian foundation, the team was struck by how physical space and scripture seemed to align. Stasola reflected, "Standing in the tomb, seeing the Aedicules foundation, and imagining the garden described in John, it became clear how closely the biblical account and the archaeology intersect. This was a living connection to history and faith that few people ever witness firsthand." Beyond the scientific findings, the excavation offered profound moments of human reflection. Graffiti etched into the stone, traces of offerings, and other small markers of devotion showed how generations of worshippers had interacted with this sacred space. "It reminded us that history is not just a record of events," Stasola said. "It is a story of people, of beliefs, and of the reverence that shapes human experience across centuries." The final submission was more than a technical report. It was a chronicle of discovery, patience, and awe. As Stasola concluded in her interview, "This site has taught us to listen to the layers beneath our feet. Every artifact, every soil sample, every trace of the past is a voice speaking across millennia. We faced challenges, but the story that emerged was worth every obstacle. History, faith, and human perseverance came together here in a way that I will never forget." The world now has access to the team's meticulous documentation, but as Stasola hinted, the ground beneath the basilica still whispers secrets. This project may have reached its official conclusion, but the echoes of history and faith it uncovered will resonate for generations to come. Reactions to the excavation. The revelations sent waves through both the archaeological and religious communities. Experts and leaders alike were struck by the scope of the findings and the way the physical evidence seemed to echo centuries-old biblical accounts. Archaeologists have been quick to emphasize the importance of the site for understanding Jerusalem's layered history. While the evidence supports the idea of a cultivated space, it does not, on its own, prove the miraculous events of the New Testament. Researchers stress that these findings are significant in providing historical context, showing how the area was used across centuries, first as a quarry, then as cultivated land, and later as a burial site. Religious leaders have greeted the discoveries with reverence. Patriarchs from the Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and Armenian communities have described the work as a powerful reminder of the sacredness of the site. One senior clergy member said that the garden and tomb connect us to the earliest witnesses of our faith and to the memory of Christ's burial. Leaders have also praised the collaboration among different Christian communities, noting that the excavation demonstrates a shared commitment to preserving and honoring the holy place. Artifacts such as pottery and oil lamps, spanning from the Iron Age through early Christian periods, further support the idea that this area was long regarded as significant. At the same time, experts remind the public that archaeology cannot prove faith. It can, however, illuminate the historical context in which biblical events were remembered and venerated. Across all perspectives, a common theme emerges. The excavation bridges the gap between Scripture and the physical world. Archaeologists marvel at the technical discoveries, religious leaders see affirmation of sacred memory, and scholars appreciate the evidence for historical continuity. Together, these reactions reflect a convergence of history, faith, and culture, offering a renewed understanding of a site that has captivated believers and historians for 2 millennia. What do you think about these incredible findings beneath the Holy Sepulchre? Share your thoughts and reactions in the comments below.